the Driveway Podcast.
Talk about Puka.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 11. Never forget of the Driveway. We're very excited. We had a good celebration for episode 10 last week, and now we're back with episode 11. More March Madness, some NFL news, some basketball's going on still. But obviously today's the start of baseball. Today's Wednesday, the 25th. And who do we have playing right now? It is Yankees
and Giants.
Yankees and Giants opening day. Cubbies go ahead and have opening day tomorrow against the Nationals. That is in Chicago, or is that in
Chicago? Yeah, we got Nationals and we got Nationals and I almost said Rays. Our first home game's against the Guardians, and that's after we play. Oh, Angels. I'm sorry. We got the Angels.
Okay.
So we got six. I don't know. Is it 4 games with the Nationals? We got the first 2 series at home. Then we go to Cleveland and Tampa.
Okay. So it should be a pretty good start for the Cubby season here. Obviously, a lot of hype going into the Cubs. But let's start it off with some March Madness news. My bracket's absolutely fucked from behind because I chose Florida.
As well.
It wasn't a great start for me, but I got a few friends that are still in the 85%, still in the 90%. You know, most of my friends have chosen Arizona, which I'm still like. I'm like, let's hold on, guys, because Arizona's like they'll always wait for an Elite 8 game to lose by 10 or something like that. And so we're gonna wait, we're gonna hold on that. But biggest takeaways though from the first 2 rounds, because obviously me and you've watched every game. We were talking about it, like. You know, I was in the middle of doing everyday tasks, and I was like, "Oh my God, you see that fucking Nebraska game?" Like, so what are some big takeaways that got you the most excited from these first 2 rounds?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Iowa. I mean, everyone who says Cinderellas are dead, just because, you know, it's not like Siena or St. Cathedrals in New York beating Kansas. Like, Iowa is as big of a Cinderella as anyone. I mean, This is a team that's come in with a super senior in Bennett Sturts, who's an incredible player, but former D2 guy. No D1 basketball team took him until he crashed the scene, I think, with his coach. Where was it? It wasn't Bradley, was it? It might have been Brad. No. Where did Bennett Sturts go? We can look that up. But he basically crashes the scene. I want it Drake, wasn't it? Wasn't it Drake?
Drake, I think it was. Yeah, Drake sounds familiar.
Yeah. So he crashes the scene. He's an immaculate player with Drake, and then, you know, comes to Iowa. Iowa is kind of a, you know, everyone talked about Nebraska not winning a NCAA first round game ever. Iowa's right there. I mean, they've been in a slump. I know everyone thinks Iowa's a basketball school because of Caitlin Clark. But, like, the men's basketball team has not been that great.
It was since 95, right? They won a game. Since like
95. I'd probably say the best players to come out were Keegan and Chris Murray. You know, and then Luka Garza, yeah. But, I mean, Keegan and Chris are much better NBA players.
Definitely.
Even though poor Keegan's fucking playing in Sacramento. But I thought them beating Florida... And it wasn't because Florida played bad. They beat Florida because they game planned that for Florida. Yeah. And they just they grinded out and fucking won a really tight game. Florida came back, but Florida's shooting has been on and off all year long. That, like, we knew at some point it was going to bite them in the butt. But that was the takeaway. Was just Iowa is a true Cinderella. They should be celebrated, and they're playing Nebraska, which is going to be. Whew.
That's going to be a huge matchup. I know. I was saying
that'll be so fun.
To today's episode of PMT, they were saying like to put like football kind of status into the game too, where it's like if the score ends at like 3-3, start playing like the football anthem and start like that part. I'm really excited about because I think the fans, especially in Nebraska and Iowa, are definitely going to show up. So it's a game that you definitely want to watch. I got to give a lot of respect to Iowa because I obviously was rooting for Florida. They were winning my bracket, so it was in the hands of Iowa. But I know that Iowa's coaching in those last 3 plays that they had of that game is exactly why they were the better team than Florida. Florida had a pretty good season, but they they were kind of kicking up dust towards the end of it, and like no one knew if they were favorites or not. I have to give so much respect to Iowa because you're right that if the closest we'll get to a Cinderella story is most likely Iowa if they can advance past Nebraska here. I do like Nebraska, but I'm so open to this kind of basketball game that I don't care what direction it goes for anymore, and that's the exciting part of being bad at brackets occasionally. So like now I have a shit bracket, now I can just sit and watch ball.
Yeah, I mean, brackets, filling out a bracket and like following it would not be as fun if there wasn't a very, very, very high chance that you were never going to get anything right. You know what I mean? Like, if you filled out a bracket and every year you were 98-2, like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be fun. Like, the fun of it is like riding with a team, but knowing that this team has like a 10% chance of getting through. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's the fun. But I would say, like, Nebraska, like, this is very familiar because, like, Nebraska's in a uncharted territory, and we went through this when we were with the Bears, where it's like, this is an incredible season. You know, like, Hoiberg has brought life back into the program, but, like, they're in this situation where it's like, you know, we've had this incredible season. Does it all go away if you lose to your most bitter rival, Iowa, in the Sweet 16? A very winnable game. Yeah. Like, does this all lose its magic if Iowa's the team that sends you home in the Sweet 16? Now, if they beat Iowa and they lose to Houston or Illinois, that's fine. It's still a magical season. But like, if Iowa, your hated cornfield boy fucking rivalry, if they're the ones who beat you, if they're the ones who beat you, like the magic is lost.
Yeah, how are they going to handle defeat, especially if it's to their enemy? Because I know for me, if the Bears lost to that Packers, then as credible as the season it was, it still would have been wasted. Because that's like this is the last step, right? So I do get that in terms of Nebraska and how they're going to kind of advance towards it. I don't think they're going to lose this game. I do think Nebraska is they are favored, and I think they kind of have a little bit of storyline pushing that favorite, but what else?
And they're going to shoot better. They're going to shoot better than Florida. They're going to shoot better than Florida. Like they are just a better shooting team.
Is there anything else that surprised you or kind of lit your ass a little bit that you were just like, man, this is stupid, or this is a really cool storyline?
Yeah, Kentucky and Santa Clara was an insane game. Yeah. I'll tell you this. I'm shocked that Mark Pope has a job.
Really?
You have a $20 million roster, and you have a healthy roster. You have a player like Otega Owe. Mm-hmm. You barely get into the March Madness. A team like Texas gets to the Sweet 16, and all you have to do is be better than one team, Iowa State, who's an incredible team. But you have a $20 million roster and talent. You stack up just as well as Iowa State.
Yeah.
And you need a half-court buzzer beater to beat Santa Clara in overtime, and you once again don't make it past the first weekend. I don't know. Like, you saw Coach Brown get fired by North Carolina today.
Yeah, I did.
You know, everyone, and we'll talk about that because, like, Billy Donovan is, like, the front runner for the job. But, like, it's been talked about in nauseum on Barstool. Like, you know, the Blue Bloods are in a situation where, like, their coaches right now are not doing great jobs. UCLA, they've been mediocre. Like, Kansas, Bill Self has been
Kansas was an interesting one.
Yeah, he's been dealing with health issues. So it's like, all it takes, North Carolina, are they going to be the straw that broke the camel's back, in a sense? And now that their job's opening, you're going to start seeing all these other blue blood programs say, let's get into it. And now we're going to see a huge coaching battle like we saw with football. But there's no excuse for Kentucky to be bad. And there's no excuse. North Carolina was one of the worst collapses I've seen in a long time.
100%. What was an 18-point lead?
18-point lead, but, like, they were doing things, man, that just, like, were so simple. And, like, literally, this was one of the few games that everyone called was like, North Carolina does not hit their free throws. And, like, Brown could say that Caleb Wilson being down, like, is a big part of why UNC had this game at hand, and the reason why they lost was they weren't hitting their free throws. Like, that has nothing to do with your injured star being out. That has everything to do with you not addressing a major problem with your team of like, hey guys, you will not play for me if you can't hit a fucking free throw. Like, what are you doing? We are North Carolina and we're losing because we can't hit our free throws. So that stuck with me because it would have been a great weekend. We would have saw a former title game, North Carolina and Illinois, would have been incredible to watch. Instead, Illinois had to go and beat the shit out of VCU. And again, you see it with VCU. Are they feisty? Yes. Are they a good team? I don't think so. Illinois showed that. Illinois put the pressure on them, and they broke VCU down. So, like, North Carolina, in my opinion, lost to... They're a blue blood. They lost after leading 18 points, they lost to not a great team. And, like, those two games were really... Because, like, Kentucky, like, people said it. Like, this wasn't Kentucky losing. This was Kentucky got down. Iowa State punched them in the face, and they fucking quit. Like, that team quit in the second half. Like, they just quit. They had a tie game at halftime, and they said, I don't want any more. And it was like, what happened from when you fought all the way back with Santa Clara? You know, like, you'd think they would build some character in that time and, like, be able to have a little bit more toughness to them. But they quit. And, like, you can't... How does Pope have a job?
No, it's a good point.
How does he have a job?
It's a good point, because you look at all the other schools that are immediately making these extreme changes after the game. After one game or two games, whatever, like... There's going to be a lot of exciting coaching changes, especially happening after all this is over. NBA names, college names that we haven't heard in years are likely going to be interviewed again for another job. But one takeaway that I had was that Duke, as always, is overhyped in a sense where they look on paper like the best team, but then I watch them and I go, this team is waiting for an upset. This team's waiting for it. They're squeezing by each round pretty well. Like, their last matchup, again, like, it came down close, but then they led it by 20 in the second half. I'm worried about Cam Boozer because I think he's a great player, but I'm worried that he doesn't recognize his size. He's always at the top of the key. He plays as if he's like a power forward that can't play, but then when he gets the ball in the post, then he's all of a sudden a legend, and then they're up by 10. I'm worried about Duke in their next matchup and seeing against St. John's. So I think St. John's is a little bit of a faster-paced team, a little bit shorter, but I think St. John's is going to give them a little bit run for their money. We can go into that if you want. I mean, if you had any other takeaways. I had one other question based on the first seeds. With Florida being out, does that make Florida the worst first seed in the entire bracket? Or do you think there's still between Arizona and between...
I mean, like, the easy answer is yes, right? Like, the other three are still playing, and essentially, and like, let's not get it twisted. We're playing this tournament to find out who the best team in the world is. However, I think based off of style play, I think Iowa beats Duke the way they played. I don't think they beat Arizona or Michigan. I think Arizona and Michigan right now are clearly 1-2 ahead of everyone else. As for Duke, I don't know because, like you said it, like you said, Duke's heading for an upset. I'll put it this way: it's hard to tell how good Duke really is. They're like UConn in the sense that they're like the big bad Darth Vader. You know, they're like the wrestling heel. They're the wrestling heel that gets their ass kicked for the entirety of the match, but in the last 5 minutes they find a way to win. Like they are the wrestling heel. Yeah, UConn is the same way. So Florida, I think they kind of ran out of gas, and I think what happened was, you know, they were playing mismatch with filling in some guys who went to the league. They had a deep run, won the championship, and then they ran into a team that just will like slow you down and drag you out and wear you thin. And Florida came back. They made a valiant effort, but in the end, they just kind of ran out of gas.
Yeah, and I saw that, especially that last play that they drew up for the three. No one's expecting them to go for three. No one's expecting Iowa to go for the win. And then when they drew up that play, I was upset in my mind. I'm like, well, my bracket's fucked, but that was an incredible play. You have to give it to Iowa for punching in the mouth of Florida, where Florida was up by 4 with, I think it was around 58 seconds left, and people are sitting there like, yeah, the game's over. Like, Iowa's missing shots, they're taking bad shots, but Iowa stayed on the course. Like, they played really good defense, and then they hit that last shot, and it's kind of what you need. You just need a guy that can. It's the same thing with High Point, right? It's like, if you have a guy that can make every shot, that's great. That's not how you win games, though. You need the guy that can make the most important shots. Is how you're gonna win those games,
And I sports media just like never ceases to amaze me, because like everyone's kind of roasting them for fouling at the end of the game, but it's such a "what have you done for me lately" business, because that exact strategy worked on Houston in the national championship game last year.
Yeah.
So now, because they lose the game to Iowa, because Iowa play, a big part of it is Bennett's search, because you have to have so many people on Bennett that you leave open all these guys that you are just going to say, I hope they don't make the shot, and Iowa made the shot. But, I mean, Florida didn't do anything uncharacteristic. Like I said, the things that they were doing against Iowa, they won the national championship that way. Iowa just found a way to proceed, and found a way through good coaching, through good preparation, and again, having a guy like Bennett Sturtz that you have to have 3 people on him at all times, because he'll literally crack your defense. But
changes the game.
So yeah, I think to answer your question, Dijo, I'd say Florida's is the worst. However, I think there's an argument to be made that Florida might have not deserved a number 1 seed, right?
That's a very fair point. Very fair point.
You look at. Yeah, and I might say Houston might have deserved that 1 spot, because like Florida really had a 16-game stretch. They were a 500 team in non-con, and then they had a mediocre ending, and then obviously getting blown out by Vanderbilt in the conference tournament. But they had that 16-game winning streak that was like their season, right? And I don't know if the SEC was I don't know if obviously winning 16 games in a row in a major conference is impressive, but I just don't think the strength was there for the SEC. It wouldn't have been like Houston winning 16 in a row in the Big 12. You know what I mean? Like every SEC team had some major flaw, right? Like you can say Arkansas can't play defense, Alabama can't play defense. Like, it's like, okay, but you look at that Florida team in non-con. There was a time when we were sitting there saying Florida might not make the tournament.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's tough, man. It's tough. Like, Houston has had such a dominant year, and just because they've lost some games because they're in the hardest conference by a mile, they got a number 2 seed. I thought they deserved the number 1 seed, because I really do think Houston's a force to be reckoned with right now.
Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with you. I mean, Houston's still in most people's favorites, other than what most people call Duke. But we're going to start with Sweet 16. Sweet 16 starts tomorrow on Thursday, March 26th, with the second round of it happening on Friday. We're going to go over the last few matchups here. We're not going to do any more like filling out the brackets, like, okay, choosing the champion. Like, we're just going to go through here, and we're going to try to dive in and see what's a good matchup, if we have any clear favorites, or maybe what's the best betting game for here. So starting off with Thursday, we have number 2 Purdue at number 11 Texas. We have Nebraska at Iowa, or sorry, not at Iowa. They're both playing in separate spots. But then Arizona versus Arkansas, and then Houston versus Illinois. Tell me which kind of matchups here are opening your eye the most.
Yeah, I mean, Houston, Illinois stands out to me, because if Houston goes in and dominates Illinois, you could basically write Houston into the national championship game.
Okay, and so not even Final Four. Like, you're thinking like straight up, like just bring them to the championship.
I mean, if this Duke or UConn team, even St. John's, if one of those teams plays Houston and Houston's playing their best basketball, they're going to run through any of those 3 teams. Mm-hmm. You have 3 flawed teams, and if Houston comes out and looks like what we think they could be, and they look like the team that almost won a championship last year, they're going to run right to the national championship game. So I think keep an eye on that, because I think Illinois is a team that can cause some problems for them because of their European three-point shooting, and their offense is incredible, and Illinois on a good night could send anyone home packing.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a really, really fun game, because I think that you saw the one thing that sent Houston home last year was Florida's guards knocking down threes in the national championship game. No one's guards do more of that than U of I. So U of I likes to shoot, and they like to shoot often. So it'll be a really great game. But if Houston beats the shit out of Illinois, punch their ticket to Indy.
Yeah, and this is one of those classic matchups that people love to put, where it's like when you had the Panthers versus Broncos Super Bowl. It's like the best offense versus the best defense. These aren't the best, but they're definitely top 5 defense in Houston versus top 5 offense in Illinois. So I'm really excited to see that matchup, because usually when you see that, then there's a shift in sports where it's like, okay, now we're so much more offense oriented. Like, this is an offensive game. It's not a defensive game. If Houston takes it, then everyone's going to be like, oh, of course, this is all about major coaching, keeping your veterans, and being a defensive unit. And it would be nice to see Houston finally pull it off. But my other question with that is, since you're obviously Illinoisan, do you have any ties to Illinois? Like, are you a fan of the Fighting Illini, or since you are like an NIU graduate, like, do you have any part of you that's just like, you know what, like, I still hate Illinois, or it's like...
No, I don't hate them. I mean, if I had to say, if you had to ask me, like, what type of team, or what team have I watched the most of since I was a kid, was probably Illinois. Okay. I hate U of I. I don't like U of I graduates. I think U of I graduates are snobby people.
That's kind of where I have a lot of U of I friends. Like, they're great people, but
yeah,
people that I'm not friends with, I'm always looking at them and I'm like, you are just the epitome of, like, low down country, or not country, like low down fucking college town.
They think they're smarter than everyone,
yeah,
because
because
they got a couple billionaires coming out of U of I. Like, no, don't get me wrong. I would probably say, when it comes to, like, basketball teams, it's like Notre Dame. U of I basketball is like Notre Dame football. I kind of root for U of I basketball because I kind of grew up watching it. Just like Notre Dame football. Like, I didn't go to Notre Dame, but I've watched so much Notre Dame football that it's hard for me not to say I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I've every Sunday or every Saturday I make it a point to watch Notre Dame. Just like every time U of I's on, I throw them on. And back in the day there was a Big Ten ESPN network back in the day, Dijo, when they had channels.
Yeah. On the clicker, right?
On the clicker. I remember in high school specifically, like the Brandon Paul teams, like I'd throw U of I on like the ESPNU, or like find like the Big Ten network, and I would just like fall asleep to watching U of I basketball. Like, I'd record their games because they were just always on. You'll hear me say a lot that I'm a North Carolina fan, because that's another team I just kind of ride with because of Michael Jordan, and being a Bulls fan, I just kind of, I always put North Carolina in that same. And Kobe White, like, I watched Kobe White when he was at UNC, and then I wanted the Bulls to draft him, and then he came to the Bulls. Like,
that was my first time, like, being in tune with March Madness and being like, oh my god, like, now I know who these guys are. And of course, we drafted the one guy who popped off. I remember Roy Williams, right? That was the last season of Roy Williams. And that's why I was so stoked. I'm like, here's this amazing coach, and like, we have a new point guard. And he didn't come out to be the same style that we were always hoping as, Chicago fans, where it's like, we love those balling point guards with Derrick Rose. He was a little bit different. He's a pure scorer. He's a pure 3-point shooter. Didn't really match what the Bulls wanted, but I agree with you. Like, watching those days in North Carolina also made me a fan.
He was swaggy too.
Yeah, dude.
He was swaggy, like with the crazy hair when he was at UNC. Yeah. Like, he just, like, I'd probably say my first like March Madness darling when, like, they got drafted was probably Derrick Rose in Memphis, just because they got all the way to the national title game.
Yeah.
Even though that was a little bit of a weird year, because Beasley was supposed to be the number one pick.
Number one, yeah.
It's kind of what we got going on this year. That's why I'm saying it. Kansas. I thought Beasley was Kansas.
I think it's Kansas.
It's kind of like what we got this year, where everyone was saying Kansas boy Darren Peterson number 1, but hey, why am I fucking up his name? Darren Acuff.
Darius Acuff, right?
Darius Acuff. If he goes and he beats Arizona, I think he's the clear-cut #1 pick.
Man, let's talk about that. What does Mr. Calipari and his team have to do to defeat Arizona? Do you think it's a tall task, or do you think they're prepared for it?
Yeah,
it's a tall task.
Yeah, it's a tall task because
again, that guy he's a walking 30. He's a walking 30, and if he can get them 30, and the other pieces can kind of wrap around, what does Arizona need to do to lose the game, not win it?
No, like, we should be talking about what Arkansas needs to do to keep up with, because like here's the problem is like Arizona's a complete team. Arkansas saying we have a point guard that could drop 30 on you. Okay, like Arizona's played in the Big 12. They've done nothing but face guards that could drop 30 on you. Like Darius Acuff is nothing new to them. However, Darius Acuff, because of just his, like, he kind of looks like a throwback. He's just like the cutoff shirt, the
Reebok deal.
Reebok deal. He looks like a 2005 point guard. Like he's awesome. He reminds me of like watching like old school D Rose or like AI. Like he's just awesome. That's why I texted you. I was like, I want Acuff so bad. I want Acuff so bad. Like, but no, he's a fucking awesome player. He's unique, but like Arizona, I don't know if Arkansas is going to have an answer for them down low. And I mean, people are forgetting like Koa Pete coming into the season was supposed to be awesome, and he kind of dwelled out a little bit and didn't have as big of a year as we were expecting him to. But make no mistake about it, Koa Pete's going to be playing in the NBA one day. And I don't know if Arkansas they play a 6-man rotation. I don't know if they have anyone down low that can stop Arizona.
Okay, do you think this would be a good betting game? If you were to bet, do you think you'd bet on Arizona? Let me just check what that looks like.
I think this is the safest. I don't know, man, because like I think this is going to be the most popular underdog pick.
Okay.
Like I think when you look at who's playing, because of Darius Acuff, I think people are going to trust Arkansas, and because of Calipari, I think people are going to trust that Arkansas might be able to get it done against Arizona, even though Arizona is so good. But you look at some of the other games, and it's really hard to say upset because like St. John's is really good. Hold on, I'm running out of battery. I gotta go get my. I'll keep talking though.
Go ahead.
St. John's is really good, Dijo, but their offense is not like compared to what Duke's got going for them. I don't know, man. I know Rick Pitino's a fun coach, and everyone's on the Rick Pitino gang now, but I don't know, Dijo. Did you see anything in St. John's the first weekend that makes you say national title?
No, definitely not. It feels very similar to how it was last year, where it's like they're a great team, they're not complete. They have really big struggles with shooting, and they've really like they get really dry at moments. And that's unfortunate because I can say the same thing for Arkansas. Arkansas right now is not favored. Obviously, they are 7.5 point underdogs against Arizona, which would make them the second, which would make them. I mean. Surprisingly, Alabama is lower. They're at plus 9.5.
Alabama, the problem with Alabama is just no defense.
No defense.
And you're not going to beat a 1 seed if you're playing awful defense.
Mm-hmm. Like it has to be right moment for them if they're going to go ahead and win this game. I don't see it though.
No, I mean your offense could blow the roof downs on Hofstra and an injured Texas Tech, but Michigan's just so complete, and they're not gonna give up when you start dropping threes on them. They're gonna be shooting, they're gonna try to stop you, and they're gonna shoot their way back into the game.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to getting a big bucket and like needing a big stop, my thing is like when the shots aren't going down, are they gonna be able to get that big stop? And I don't think they will.
You don't think they will?
I think if there was the safest bet, I would take Texas over Purdue.
That's a good one. FC Texas, the 11th seed, probably one of the crazier Cinderella stories if they were to win it. versus number 2 Purdue. But let's go ahead and move on to the Friday games here. The Friday games we have number 1 seed Duke versus number 5 seed St. John's, number 1 seed Michigan at number 4 Alabama, number 2 UConn versus number 3 Michigan State and Izzo. Congratulations to Izzo. I think it's 23 or something like that straight years in the Sweet 16.
25 or some
25.
shit like that. Yeah.
It's such a crazy number. I can't even think about it. But shout out to him. And then number 2 seed Iowa State versus number 6 seed Tennessee. What speaks to you here? And if there's any major upsets, let me know. What do you see here?
No, all those games. It's hard to call anyone an upset because all those games are really gonna. Michigan State UConn is gonna be such a fun fucking game.
Yeah,
it's gonna be it's gonna be so physical. It's gonna be a battle tested game. I think if you had to pick an upset, I'll take St. John's on Duke because I think that Zuby Ejiofor is a big man that can give Boozer problems down low, and then that it'll become someone else not named Boozer having to step up on Duke, and I just haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
And also Patino obviously has some magic left in him. Do I think they're going to get to the Final Four national championship? Like we said, I don't see it for that team. Do I think they're good enough on one night to be better than Duke? I think so, but I want to see if Michigan State can sustain it. Right? They looked incredible the first weekend. UConn does not look that good. And, man, if Michigan State comes and blows the roof down on UConn, I might be looking at them and saying national title game.
That's what people are excited about because obviously this UConn matchup's going to be the one that's the deciding factor of, like, is it legit or is it fake? And I think I would like to say Michigan State does win this game versus UConn because I think UConn they're coming in a little bit gassed. I think they've done really well with their matchups, but this is a really big kind of hurdle for them to make it. People use UConn in the same sense that they said with, I guess this is the way you're saying with Michigan State, where it's like if UConn wins this, then like what makes them not the favorites? And I think Michigan State does have a little bit of a better chance to win this game.
Yeah, I mean UConn's just got the logo on their chest, right? You can never count UConn out. You can never count UConn out. And Michigan State and Purdue have we're waiting for them to blow it up. You know what I mean? Like it's the tale of two teams. UConn reminds me of, and you've watched a lot of the bowls. They remind me a lot of last year's bowls where they were good. Like they were good enough to get into and obviously the Bulls didn't go on a playoff run. So people are probably going, "What the fuck are you talking about, Danny?" But the Bulls played in a lot of really tight games, but they didn't have a true go-to scorer. And, that's UConn. UConn has a talented roster, but they don't have a true number one, drop 25 on you type of guy. They have a lot of talented guys, but I think their leading scorers, scoring 13 points a game. So, they're a deep roster, but I just don't think they have that one guy who, in a moment that you need a bucket, is just going to get you a bucket when you're ice cold. You know what I mean?
That makes total sense, dude. So, one more thing before we move on from men's basketball here, unless you have anything else you want to cover. Yeah. I'll give you one more shot. Give me one more. Who's in the championship? Who are the two teams out of these 16 teams you see here?
Our championship, I think, is. Did we have Florida in the championship last episode?
We had Michigan, Florida.
Okay, I'm going to stick with Michigan. Although Iowa State scares me a little bit, I like the way Michigan looks balanced right now. They're not going out there blowing out anyone, but at the same time, they're just playing their style of basketball, and they're not getting rattled by anyone and what anyone else does. They're just playing their style, and they look balanced on both ends of the ball. So I still really like Michigan. However, man, Iowa State looks nasty. So, but I really think if Michigan gets out of this region, oh man, a Michigan-Arizona game would be so fun. It'd be so good. This is why this time of year rocks, because it's
you could
there is no bad there is no bad matchups. Yeah. So I'd say I'm still going to ride with Michigan. I'm still going to ride with. I'd love to see Michigan State get to the Final Four. Let me tell you something.
Yeah, damn, that'd be. Great.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
If we think Iowa and Nebraska is going to be really good on tomorrow, a Michigan State national title game.
I was gonna say, dude, that'd be crazy.
Someone might die.
Absolute cinema.
Someone would die. Like
Yeah.
somebody would get killed in that game. Like that would be
The state of
one of the
Michigan
most,
having a championship for their two colleges. I can't even picture it. That's fucking nuts.
especially after all the shit that has been spoken, all the dicks that have been kicked, all you know, like the drama that those two teams have had the last 2 years. You know, like don't forget the end of the season last year when Michigan State disrespected this, or when Michigan disrespected the Spartan, so, and disrespected senior night. So no, man, that would be absolute cinema. I don't know, like, what's really weird is just like every team besides, and you can even put UConn in this, every team kind of has that, like, they feel like they are going to blow up. Like, no one really feels like the front runner right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
No one feels like,
I agree.
Yeah, no one feels like no one feels like a world beater. And that's so refreshing coming from the last 2 years where, like, last year Florida was just a fucking unit. Like, no one was beating them.
UConn 2 years straight, like
UConn 2 years straight. Before that, Duke, I think, maybe was it Duke? Yeah, and Kansas a couple years before that. Like, we've just had some teams that just have been absolute fucking just world beaters. This year, like, there's a lot of talent, but, like, Arizona, like, it'd be cool to, like, I don't think anyone in Arizona or Michigan's camp is confidently saying we're going to win a national title, because they just haven't been there enough.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you on that in that case. Yeah.
So it's going to be really good. But I'm going to stick with Michigan. Michigan State, because I like cinema. And I just really don't want to tie my wagon to. I think I took UConn. I think UConn's the safest bet still, because they're just fucking UConn. And you hate them, but they just love that you hate them.
Yeah.
And they just are gonna find a way to fucking just rip your heart out in the end. So I take UConn. I'm gonna ride with those two teams. I think Houston Final Four, although I'm pushing for U of I. I'd love to see U of I get to the Final Four. And I'm going to stick with Purdue. I'm going to stick with Purdue.
Yeah,
although
it's a name we haven't mentioned a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I said Purdue. I said Texas is the best bet. I know people are probably like, Danny, you're a hypocrite. You just said Texas is... No, if I had to take someone who was going to be a monumental upset, Purdue always shits on... They always piss on their leg. In these moments. So, like, if there's a team that's coming out this weekend that's going to fuck up, it's Purdue. However, they got 4 really, really talented guys that are experienced in the tournament. Like, if there was a year that Purdue could find a way into a Final Four and, like, get themselves back to a national title, like, this is the year that Purdue should win a national title.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I thought about it, because I did have them making it to my Final Four bracket. I still kind of have hopes for that, just because, again, they're such a tight unit after what they went through last year. I kind of feel like they might have a lead over Arizona, but only time will tell.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anyone they can't beat. Like, it's unfortunate the year they made it to the national title, UConn was just a fucking problem, and they were just way better. But, like, Purdue's not going to run into a matchup like that. They're not going to run into a matchup where they step on the floor and they're the clear second best team. Like, they're probably more talented, just as talented as anyone in the tournament still, and also the team that a lot of people are saying is the best team. Purdue's just beaten them in the Big Ten title game, and they beat them soundly, like they beat the shit out of Michigan. So, yeah, I don't know. This is the year for Purdue to do it, but if there's a team that you're like, Danny, who's going to piss on their leg, it's Purdue.
Yeah, it's Purdue.
Always
it's
Purdue.
But people love
Purdue.
to talk about the idea that obviously Indiana's been having a pretty interesting year of sports. If Purdue was to make it, then they would have a home game in Indianapolis, which would be pretty exciting. But only time will tell, and we'll kind of cover that more next week.
I don't know, man.
See a lot of these wins. Yeah.
I don't know. Look. You say it's a home game.
Yeah.
I want to say something. A couple years back, I went to Indianapolis for the Big Ten championship game between Purdue and Michigan with J.J. McCarthy. It was not a fucking home. It was not a fucking Purdue home game. That was Michigan blue. There was so many Michigan people in that fucking stadium.
Man.
And Lucas Oil, dude, I've never seen a college team completely sell out a fucking. I don't know if I've been to a couple games at Lucas Oil. I've been to a Colts game. I was actually at the game when the Colts Texans got us the #1 overall pick. Shout out Lovie Smith.
Shout out Lovey. Mills.
But that stadium's huge, and Michigan sold that out. It was not a fucking empty seat. And that was an Indy, and Michigan took the town over, and it was kind of sad. But again, Purdue's a basketball school, so it might be different than Purdue's football team.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that plays out.
They were 9-3.
Right. Like Michigan does travel pretty fucking well. I mean, Michigan every single time I've been to a game versus a Michigan team, that team usually led in the fan section because they're pretty wild fans over there. But if you got anything else to cover for NCAA, we'll get more into it next week. We'll cover kind of the Elite Eight section and how those teams are looking and see if the teams that we're rooting for are still kind of in there. But you ready to move on?
Yeah, I mean, I was just one final thought. It's so weird that I'm cheering for a Calipari team.
That's a good way to put it because I, growing up, always fucking hated any of the Blue Buds. I was any Duke.
I got so used to hating Kentucky.
Yeah.
And hating him with Kentucky, and I know I cheered for him with Memphis, but like, it's so weird to be like Calipari. He's coaching an SEC team. I really want to see this team go. I want to see this team go far.
Yeah, and especially it's the matchup too. Like I think seeing Arkansas win this matchup would be absolute proof to be like he's one of the greatest of all time, which is already known. But that would be pretty exciting. All right.
Hell yeah.
Okay, I mean, NCAA is the most exciting thing happening right now, so unfortunately we do have to talk about some of the other sports. We got a little bit of NFL news. Some things happening around the NFL. The biggest thing
I was going to say.
What's that?
I was going to say it's the NCAA is the most exciting thing going on right now, unless you were in a car with Puka Nacua.
Oh, dude. Dude, the shit, and I don't know. I guess the NFL just was missing a receiver that's just kind of batshit crazy, but the reports that I've been getting of him this offseason have been more worrisome than like a proud moment. He's on something, dude. He's on something.
Well,
he's good.
So let's look at this, right? Let's break this down. This might be the ultimate. This one, and I got my notes here. I wanted to just read this here. This might be the ultimate I fucked up storyline because he goes on Aiden Ross in December on a live stream, and he does an anti-Semitic hand gesture that he swears he didn't know was anti-Semitic. And then apparently a couple weeks later on New Year's Eve in Century City, he bites a girl in the shoulder and says, and I quote, this is not coming from Danny's mouth. He said he bites a girl in the shoulders and he says, unprovoked anti-Semitic statement. He just bites her in the shoulder, leaves a teeth mark, and says, "Fuck them Jews." That unquote. Is a direct quote. Unquote. Yes, unquote. So
Jesus Christ,
I don't think he could say that he didn't know if that was anti-Semitic or not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure that is very clearly anti-Semitic. So he says that a hearing is scheduled for April 14th. And I'm sorry, he said fuck all the Jews, not fuck them Jews. He said fuck all the Jews.
Plural. Yeah.
Plural. So he was very clear with who he was saying fuck. And then he hit this girl on the shoulder, and then he bit her friend's thumb in a car. Now, a hearing is scheduled for April 14th. His attorney is telling TMZ that they have video evidence proving that he is innocent, which unless they got like a video on him all night where he clearly does not say anything about the chosen people, I think it's pretty much that it's all bullshit. And I mean, this guy's got two anti-Semitic issues happening within weeks of each other, and then to make matters worse, a guy that he had better numbers than, Jackson Smith-Njigba, got 4 years, $168 million, becoming the highest paid wide receiver And Puka Nacua is also eligible for a contract extension.
How interesting is that going to be? Is there any part of you as management for the Rams? What are you doing? What are you doing in here? This situation, Danny.
If it was Matthew Stafford saying "fuck them Jews" in the back of the van, I might be like, that's my I need video evidence of him saying that before I do anything. Yeah. With Puka Nacua, he's kind of showing, and his brother's getting arrested at every game. With Puka Nacua, I think I might trade him.
He's worth. I mean, again, he is technically the best wide receiver in like yards after catch, and then catch percentage. Like,
yeah, but sure, and look at the Rams. Look what they've done. You are like, if there's a team that I'm saying they trade Puka, and I'm confident they'll find another guy, it's the Rams. I mean, this is all they've fucking done. This is all they've done is draft well and sign big time free agents. So, I think I'm calling Kansas City. I think Kansas City will take them. They take people that beat the shit out of their wives in a fucking hotel room.
They want them.
I mean, they gave what's his name a job, the running back, for all those years.
Kareem Hunt, and then Rashee Rice. Yeah, like, dude, they got
Rashee Rice. Like, they don't give a fuck. Did Xavier do anything wrong?
Xavier Worthy? I don't think so. I think he's tight. I think he's tight.
No, Xavier Worthy was the guy. Didn't he say he can run? He's faster than everyone, and then he ran a bad 40 time, or he called himself the fastest man in the world or something.
Yeah, I think something like that. He was the fastest in college, ran the 40, was like top 12 or something, but still got drafted. Yeah, he got drafted like 4th round, and he was supposed to go to the Bills is what I remember. The Bills traded that pick to Kansas City, and then Kansas City got another pretty good wide receiver. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a stud, but back to Puka
here's my
Nacua,
thing. Back to Puka Nacua, you bring up a good point with Buffalo. If Puka Nacua goes on sale for cheap, if you're Buffalo, do you say, fuck, we gave a 2nd-round pick for DJ Moore?
They're already saying fuck, dude. They're already saying fuck.
Yeah, do you say, I can't believe we gave up a 2nd-round pick for DJ Moore if Puka Nacua's open?
Man, I mean, that's... Maybe like a 3rd and 4th rounder is what we're going to get, and some cap help. But, dude, 2nd-rounder to this day, thank you, Buffalo. Yeah. Because right after that, Michael Pittman, who had pretty similar numbers as a wide receiver for another team, not a playoff team, not a lot of big catches, but he was traded for a 6th-rounder. like it was a completely different, opposite trade, and
in a season that the Bears are going to need that 2nd-round pick.
Yes, I'm pretty stoked. There's already a lot of big names that people kind of pushing around there for a 2nd-rounder. I'm pretty excited about it. We don't have to get into it, but the whole Ian Cunningham thing where it's like we didn't get 2 conditional picks, I don't fucking get it. I get really angry thinking about it because I know it's one of those things where it's like, man, the Bears deserve it. You know what I mean? It's like you look at this Bears roster, it's like they deserve it. Like Ian Cunningham was around for a very long time. Like he was the right-hand man, and all of a sudden he leaves, and it's like, oh man, I'm not sure, I can't help you. Like that to me, that sucks. That sucks for
and that's what you and I and I have been texting back and forth on. It's just like, I don't get this whole compensation picks, because we talked about basketball, and Kobe White had a sore wrist that kept him out a week, and the Bulls lost a 2nd-round pick for that. Detroit gave us a guy with a destroyed knee, and literally, doctors were like, oh, the Pistons doctors must have missed a lot of shit here. Like, this guy's knee is not okay. And the Pistons didn't get fucking hit. So, like, what are we doing? Like,
what's the point of the conditional picks? What's the point of making them so important if they're not going to be utilized in ways that are obvious, right? Ian Cunningham, man of color, played or didn't play. He coached for the Bears, assisted for 5+ years. Got appointed by Matt Ryan, who's president, not GM. And Matt Ryan's like, I'm making none of the decisions here. Like, Ian Cunningham's the man. Ian Cunningham is the one who is made the trade for draft picks and picked up Tua. Like, he's the one making these decisions. So what's the basis? What's the basis on for conditional picks? Like, how are we talking about how black someone needs to be, or how important of a system they run? Like, that's the part that I'm not understanding so far. The Bears deserve 2 third-round picks this year and next year. And whether you argue if it's necessary or not, we could live without it. A third-round pick is massive for this Bears team. That's another wide receiver. It's a back quarterback. That's a starting center. Like,
oh, I mean, a third round pick. If we're talking about like what they do for your defense, I mean, like not even that. You get a third round pick at offensive line. They're probably a starter. Like a third round pick is still a high value player, or could be a high value player.
Oh yeah. All right, I mean, we do have more NFL news here. We're gonna go through some kind of mini things just to keep people updated and then things that are more relevant. We didn't cover this, but I remember talking to you about this. Here's another trade that we kind of didn't understand too clearly. It was the Jaylen Waddle trade to the Broncos, where the Broncos received Jaylen Waddle and a 4th rounder. The Dolphins got a 1st rounder, a 3rd rounder, and a 4th rounder. I think that's a pretty damn solid for the Dolphins, especially, again, the whole signing Malik Willis, and now they have no wide receivers. But if you can get a 1st round for a wide receiver that hasn't done too much, hasn't hit 1,000 yards each season, was a 1st round pick originally, man, you're trading that asset for also a 3rd and 4th rounder. I think the Dolphins made a pretty good deal here.
Yeah. I think the Dolphins have had a fairly good offseason so far.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've blown it up. It's the smart thing to do. They are now sitting on a pretty decent stockpile of picks. Now, the Dolphins have a lot of dead cap.
$90 million.
$90 million, that's going to kill them. That's going to hurt. But, I mean, they got to completely clean house. They got to continue to clean house. They got to fire everyone. But look, they're trying to change the way this team has been portrayed. They're trying to change the culture. So, I mean, Jaylen Waddle is just going to be a waste of talent. I will be interested to see if Devin Achane is next to go.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very interesting to see if he's someone that we're going to see get offered up. But right now, it doesn't look like it. But I would think Miami's looking at him and saying, this is another guy we could get a haul for.
100%. Achane is a really good player, and what they got him for wasn't all that much. He was kind of a later round pick, right? He was like a 3rd, 4th rounder. They'll probably get another 1st round pick for him. I do like what the Dolphins are doing, because obviously when you do a rebuild, they're doing a rebuild right. But what about the Broncos? Do you think this was a good move for the Broncos? Do you think they looked at Bo Nix and went, oh, they need a wide receiver 1?
Yeah, I do. I think you don't want to get into a spot with Bo Nix that you are in with Josh Allen, where it's like you get to a certain point where he hasn't won anything yet, and you're asking, did we do enough for him? And now you're just, maybe we got to get him a receiver, maybe we got to get him a running back, and then you're doing all this stuff to ignore, maybe it's Josh Allen that's the problem. And Buffalo's kind of coming into this where it's like they're thinking maybe Josh Allen is the problem.
It's crazy, yeah.
Now with Bo Nix, I think it's a little different, right? I don't think you're looking at Bo Nix. I think you think he's a little more limited than a Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. Like, you know, it's pretty much the system. You know, he fits the system really well, and Sean Payton's really elevating him. But at the same time, you got a young guy. You got to put weapons around him. You got to give him number 1 receivers. You got to give him guys that can elevate his game. Sean Payton understands that. I mean, look at all the weapons they put around Drew Brees over the years. And Denver, really, when you're starting to look at what did Denver do this year that, okay, you know, that they didn't make it to the promised land, that they didn't get to the Super Bowl. You could say it was the injury, because they probably do win that game against New England and get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but they get smacked by Seattle just as bad as New England did, and the reason being is because they didn't really have a one true weapon on offense.
That's a good point. And the running room is a little bit hectic with RG Harvey and like they got too many names all over the place. You know, they got their Courtland Suttons, your Tim Patricks. Like, I think this is a good move for the Broncos. It's always one of those moves where it's like you have to really decide later on if it's going to be the big game changer, because Jaylen Waddle could easily go for 10 touchdowns and 1,200 yards, or he could have another similar year to the way things were with Tua, where he's more of a statement piece, where it's like, hey, now we at least have that guy if we do need to get into that situation. And we're gonna see what that plays out. But I think it's a good move. This feels very much like a Sean Payton move, where Sean Payton went through the entire last season like, no, now I want a guy. Like now I want we tried the test of like cheaper contracts. They're in the same position right now as the Bears, where it's like, hey, we have to figure out how to remove money, but also bring in assets before we have to pay this QB. So I definitely think that's a good move for them. But judging on another QB, I'm only bringing this up because I think I still have a little bit of love in my heart for OG Justin Fields. Justin Fields is going to be on his best roster since his Ohio State days. Justin Fields got traded to the Chiefs for a 6th-round pick.
Is it his best roster?
I think.
Is it his best roster?
I mean,
the Chiefs that just blew up their defense.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, good point.
And
good
is
point.
it there? I mean, it's basically look. I think I would say this: Justin Fields is playing with his best coach since his Ohio State days.
Okay, yeah.
Because if there's one guy that can make Justin Fields look like an absolute fucking star, it's Andy Reid.
Mm-hmm.
And why I say that is look what Justin Fields looked like when he played for Tomlin. Tomlin made Justin Fields get paid.
Pretty good. Yeah, he got $60 million.
Tomlin made Justin Fields get $60 million in the bank account to open up that fucking church when he gets out of here and be a pastor. Justin Fields is a talent. We're not talking about if Justin Fields is a talented athlete or not. We're talking about can Justin Fields play quarterback.
Yeah.
We know he's not a very good quarterback. We know he's a very good athlete, not a very good quarterback. However, if there's one guy that can hide a lot of the weaknesses that Justin Fields has, it's fucking Andy Reid. Yeah. I mean, Andy Reid made Donovan McNabb, and I know a lot of people are going to get mad at me, and they're going to start. This might be a very controversial statement. Donovan McNabb might be the most. He might be the worst quarterback that's up for Hall of Fame consideration.
Interesting. It's a good take.
Look what McNabb did away from Andy Reid. I'll answer that for you. I did more in the NFL than McNabb did in the NFL. He didn't do anything when he didn't have Andy Reid. So I'm not saying McNabb wasn't at one point a talented quarterback. I'm just saying Andy Reid made Donovan McNabb the guy that was on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a guy in Justin Fields that has arm strength. He has speed. I think Andy Reid's saying, "Oh, I just got to make this guy look great for 4 games."
Yeah, as a preseason quarterback, he's going to play maybe 4 to 6 games while Patrick Mahomes is out. It's a good backup deal. I mean, it's better than Chris Olajuwon that they had. Like he's a good backup deal. Justin Fields
is an exceptional backup quarterback.
Yeah.
I would love to have, because you can also bring him in running back as a running back, line up as a receiver. Like you could do a lot of things.
He's a matchup killer. Like if you put him in, he's gonna get you that first down with his legs or with his arm. He's not a throw for 200 yards kind of guy, but he'll get you a few yards when it matters most. And we remember that as Bears fans, but also something we remember as Bears fans, and we're not going to forget it because even though the Bears are going through their hectic array of trying to figure out stadiums and where to put it. I'm not 100% sure if this is true or not, but Packers CEO went ahead and said that they are looking into selling the naming rights of Lambeau Field and the surrounding Titletown district. Also, I did just want to mention the Bulls just lost to the 76ers. The Sixers put up 157 points. Yeah, good. We had a couple names here, because we want to do our job as Midwesterners at helping the Packers kind of arrange a good system for how to name their area, and they're in Lambeau Field. So I don't know if you have a few. If you want to name them off, I got a few here I can bring up. The 3 that I have here is the Cheesehead Retirement Community Stadium. I think that would be very peaceful for the older people in the generation that the older Packer fans, right? The people who are still like, we're the best. It would be a nice, peaceful resting place for them, into a little retirement community. This one was my favorite. How about they pay the restaurant to steal the name and they name it the Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
They should do that. They should just hit up Cheesecake Factory and say, hey, we'd like to buy this name off of you.
I was thinking Iran Aim Here Stadium. That would be great. That'd be great.
That's genius. That's genius. I ran a big target. It's like a big target on the top, and it's like, man,
yeah, just paint a big target and just say Iran, aim here.
Okay.
This is where we're manufacturing weapons. I would say Brett Favre steals from poor people field.
Okay, dig it. That's nice.
That's a
and
good
they would
one.
love that because they love Brett. They're big Brett fans over there. They love,
and they're all poor.
Yeah.
And they're all poor. And Brett Favre stole from them for all these years.
Yeah.
Iran aim here is the one I'd go for.
Iran aim here. That's clever. That's the one from our podcast. That's the one we're gonna take. We're gonna push off to you guys, and you're welcome for our service. So when that stadium does get named, we'll make sure to be there to cut the ribbon for you guys. That's pretty exciting. Iran aim here. That's
if you're saying I'm not patriotic for saying that, that's the most patriotic thing I can say.
Yeah.
I'm from Illinois. Of course I'm going to hate my neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, what would America be if there weren't these fun little rivalries that we can't have? You know what I mean? That's America, baby.
That's America. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it. And even though I don't agree with Packer fans, I do have to say that occasionally I have a few friends that I'm like, I respect them because we're in the same boat.
No.
It is, at the end of the day, it's Midwest versus everybody, and thankfully the Bears did beat the Packers twice last season. So
I don't respect anyone that wears. I don't respect anyone that's a Packer fan. Look, there are a couple teams like the Packers, now the Dodgers, and the Cardinals that I just fucking hate.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll never hear me say go that team. I'm sorry, and I'll even put the Patriots in there.
Lately, the Patriots, yeah.
Yeah. Well, the Patriots they ruined my childhood. You know, I had to watch that fucking team over and over again. Them and the Colts. Although the Colts are kind of getting what they deserve.
What they deserve.
They're kind of getting like 10
$90
years
million for Daniel Jones. Yeah, sounds about right. Yeah.
I mean, even their fans, Savage, whatever his name is. This is our Colts. This is our team.
Yeah.
We be this guy said, I hope Aaron Rodgers gets hurt, and everyone fucking went after him. I hope they don't ever look up the things that I've said about Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, yeah.
Like that. If
You need
this
this show to keep
podcast ever
running.
gets super famous, and we're like trying to be super professional, please do not look at my Twitter and Facebook and look
I was just
up
gonna
the
say.
things that
I've
I've said about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I have
Twitter
said
is very anonymous. Do not find my Twitter. Do not find my Twitter.
I mean, I did just say they should name Packer Stadium Iran aim here. I think that I will never respect the Packers. I'll never respect the Cardinals. There's just some hatred that just doesn't go away.
That's understood. I have respect for Packer fans just because I do have, especially after this season, I was like, now you guys know how we feel. Like, we always got our ass kicked. For me, the worst is the Chicago-born Packer fans. Those are a living breed that I just truly cannot stand because those are the ones that they will fight for absolutely no reason at all. But from what I've heard, I haven't been to Lambeau. From what I've heard is that Packer fans are extremely inviting. Like, if they invite you to Lambeau, it's like they're going to treat you like it's their home, and they don't care who you're from. They're going to buy you a beer. And it's like, that's an experience that I'm looking forward towards having. So that's why I still have, like, a little bit of respect at the end of the day to be like, we're all Midwesterners. We have a rivalry. Let's appreciate the rivalry instead of being this Chicago Packer fan that's just like, I live in your city and I fucking hate it and I root for the Packers. And I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck you.
Once you get inland Wisconsin, once you get into Wisconsin, and you have the people that were actually born and raised in the fields of Wisconsin, like, those are very friendly people.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to Milwaukee, don't think you're going to run into those people because Milwaukee's primarily just people that were too broke to live in Chicago. Either too broke to live in either too close to live in Chicago, or they're people that grew up on the border and they have some sort of vendetta or hatred towards Illinois. So they went to Milwaukee because they still want to live in a bigger city. But you get to the like small town people in Wisconsin, they're all really great people.
Yeah, that's the experience that I've had, right? Like, I do spend a lot of time in Wisconsin camping and driving and just going to see some visits because it is so close to us. But, yeah, and in terms of hatred, it is mainly just the Chicago Packer fans that I have a pure hatred for.
Yeah. Well, and I would say this: it's like Wisconsin and Minnesota. Like, those are some people, like some of the best people you'll see in America, and you know they're people who love their sports. They're people that love their country, but they're also just people that they like being friendly and being hospitable is their nature. And it sucks because you go on the news and you see like shit that happens in Minneapolis, and you think like, oh, Minnesota is this horrible place. Man, I've driven all over northern Wisconsin, Minnesota for work, and it's just every people you run into are just like hardworking people that, you know, remind you of an uncle, a grandfather, your dad, or something like that.
There's a certain level of pride that these people have in the Midwest that I have a true respect for. And you bring up Minnesota. Minnesota is something that I was kind of experienced too in the last few years, especially from a past relationship. I love Minnesota. I think the people there are very friendly, and there's a different atmosphere than they do in Chicago, because obviously Chicago, out of the four, Detroit, you can kind of think about it too. Detroit does have a big city. It's like Chicago's the only big city one, but we do share that mindset of just like being Midwestern and having to fucking grit and grind, and we're part of the first generation of footballers. Like, that's a pretty exciting feeling, and I do have respect for Minnesota. I think that team, like, the Kyler Murray thing does worry me a little bit right now, because it's like, you were telling me about that. That
scares me.
Because he's good. Because Kyler Murray is a fucking good quarterback, especially if he's in the right hands.
This team won 8 games last year without a quarterback. Yeah. What can they do with Kyler Murray?
And Brian Flores is back. You make Justin Jefferson happy with a quarterback play, and then we'll see.
Michigan's a little different. Michigan's a little different because fuck Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan's got assholes
because they got too many. There's too many parts of Michigan that are really yuppie. You know, obviously there's parts of Michigan that are a little bit more working class. Like you get some similar to Illinois. You know what I mean? We're not all just kind of liberal Chicagoans. You know what I mean? So you can't say all of Michigan's like, but not all of Michigan is working in General Motors and hardworking, you know, hardworking technicians that do work on your car. There's quite a bit of yuppie, my holier than thou, you know, stick your nose up Dave Portnoy types.
Yeah.
You know, the term Michigan man is a thing. There's a lot of those people out in Michigan. So there's a lot of those towns out in Michigan. So you know, so Michigan's not doesn't have that darling feel, even though it's very beautiful. I mean, this is a place that will arrest you for being too trashy on their dunes. It is a punishable offense. So
have you learned that firsthand, or is that just?
Yeah, like Indiana Dunes, you could go and shoot up heroin and have sex on the Indiana Dunes. Then you go on the other side by Michigan. And every 5 feet you see a sign saying, "We will shoot you if you fucking drop a water bottle on here." Like, it's a completely different vibe. I love Michigan. The one thing I hate about Michigan is driving at night because there's no lights.
There's
no light in Michigan. Yeah, and it's scary because you're right up on the woods, and you ever have those? I went to a wedding last year in Michigan, dude, and it was one of those where you're just like, and you're like trying to turn up the music a little bit because you're a little fucking tired. And I stayed in Grand Rapids, and literally, it was a wedding out in the woods, and I was trying to drive back to my hotel, and it started downpouring on me, and it was the scariest thing I've ever, because I couldn't see the road. And there was no light, It was literally just a little faint. And like in Chicago, what people don't understand, in Chicago, you fucked up. You're not in Chicago if you're in an area that has no light. Like no matter what,
15 miles, and every street has street lamps. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and it's always a busy highway, busy road. That's why it's not that hard to drive in Chicago, because there's just it's kind of like everywhere you go is just lit up road, open road. Yeah,
100%.
Not Wisconsin, and not Michigan. It's pitch dark.
Let me segue here to NBA, if you don't mind. Speaking of Michigan,
let's do it.
Speaking of Michigan here, on March 19th, so we're a little bit late to it. Obviously, it's about a week after. On March 19th, Detroit guard Cade Cunningham, unfortunately, was diagnosed with a collapsed lung and is expected to miss an extended period of time. We are entering our NBA talk now. This was big news, obviously, because they're the darling of the season. Everyone's like, Detroit is the team. Detroit versus everybody. Detroit's going to beat New York. Detroit to the finals. This puts a huge stamp on it. We're nearing towards 10 games left in the regular season, so playoffs are going to be starting, within the month. So usually people don't come back from a collapsed lung within a month. Without Cade Cunningham, this team isn't great. I mean, they are good, but they don't have that star point guard power, which you're going to need in this East. Is this doom? Is this doom for Detroit?
Doom for Detroit. No, because I think if Cade's back for the playoffs, she'll be fine. I think it makes it interesting because if he's not, and you have a Detroit Pistons without Cade Cunningham playing, say, Charlotte, that'd be a really interesting series because maybe Charlotte can knock off Detroit. But no, I don't think it shouldn't. I think if Cade comes back and he's half of what he is right now, I think he'll be fine. Collapsed lung sounds a lot worse than what it is. I kind of learned this because one of my favorite wrestlers, JD McDonough, collapsed his lung and finished the match. If you guys want to see a nasty injury, he does a backflip onto the outside from the ring, and he misses the guy, and he lands on his feet, and he goes flying back, and all his momentum hits the announce table, and he hits it right on the small of his back, and collapses the shit out of his lung. He was back in 4 to 6 weeks, and he's been wrestling and perfectly fine since. It's a little concerning because we've been hearing it so much. I mean, Tyrod Taylor was the first time we really heard it. We heard it also with TJ Watt,
TJ Watt, yeah, true. Forgot. Yeah.
And now we're hearing it with Cade. Cade, this was not a needle acupuncture situation. Cade actually ran into a guy, and it just kind of sucks. And when people talk about sitting stars, when Cade Cunningham gets hurt against a meaningless game against the Wizards, you can't really blame teams. You know what I mean? You can't really blame a coach.
There's 2 weeks left, right? It's you at this point, I'd much rather hold my player down. If he's helping the playoffs, 100%.
Again, especially against the Wizards, when you could play me at point guard and with what Detroit has, and we might win that game still. I just have to not completely fuck up and pass the ball to the Wizards every time. It's just bizarre. It's bad timing, but at the same time, I don't know, man. Other than Boston, there's no one in the East that really scares me, even with the Knicks.
I agree. I mean, Boston with Tatum back, they look pretty fucking good.
But Charlotte, this is where it sucks. Is I don't think there's a hotter basketball team than Charlotte and Atlanta right now. And those are two of the teams that Detroit probably has to play first round. And if Detroit goes into either a series with either of those teams without Cade Cunningham, oh boy,
the potential matchups right now
tight.
It could be Miami, Charlotte, Orlando, or Philadelphia. Maybe Miami beats Charlotte. I don't know, depending on how hot Charlotte can stay. But
is that the play-in?
That's the plan. Is right now Philly 7, Orlando 8. Dude, Atlanta's 6. Atlanta's better than those teams.
How did the East play-in get really fun?
Dude, Orlando's one that I'm really confused about. Orlando should be in their prime right now. They're not. They don't look that good.
Paolo Banchero has not figured it out yet.
Yeah, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with that roster and the coaching where they were in their prime last season, and they took a step back. They were a playoff team.
Well, they did try to get Desmond Bane.
Yeah, that was weird.
So because before it was always Orlando tried to build with young stars, and they would win 10 in a row, and they'd be like, we're good, we got the young stars to win it all, and they end up going on a 20 game losing streak, They got Desmond Bain this year, which was, it made things a little spicier. But I don't know, man. You look at Desmond Bain. My dogs are going nuts down
That's okay.
there right
No,
now.
it's not that bad though.
It's not that bad. You get a guy like Desmond Bain, and Desmond Bain has not been it. He's been inconsistent all year.
Yeah.
Paolo Banchero, and they gave up a lot for Desmond Bain.
It was 4 first rounders, I think.
4 first rounders. Then you get a guy like Paolo Banchero, who solid player. He's done a lot of really good things for the Magic. You look at his overall stats, you're probably like, oh, this guy is a really good player, but like from a game to game perspective, he disappears sometimes.
He does, yeah. You don't hear about him that
like,
often, especially this season.
He might be the most quiet 20 points a game guy in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a guy with his numbers, I mean, goddamn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like especially his pedigree too. Like he was the savior of that franchise. One thing I want to mention, because we didn't speak about it for a few weeks, Portland did officially clinch postseason, so they did make a play-in spot. So it looks like they're going to have to play Golden State and then another win versus Phoenix or Clippers to make it to the playoffs, which would mean the Bulls do secure that first rounder from them. So that we're here. We made the first step. They've made it to the play-in, so now we're Portland fans. Is how Bulls fans are looking at it.
Yeah. I'm really excited about it because Portland, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago we were talking about it and we said we just need the Warriors to fall apart. And look at it. The Warriors are falling apart. The Warriors are falling apart. So now, I don't know, man. Portland, there are times when I watch Portland and I'm like, this team's figured it out. Denny Avdija, they got talent on that team. But will they continue to win games? They are in a frustrating spot that the Bulls were in, where it's like, this team's so good, and if they win 4 in a row, they then lose 4 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
They never seem to get over that hump, and it's like, fuck, what do we need to do to get us there? They're
tough.
adding good players, they have good players, Scoot Henderson, they got all these guys, but at the same time, it's like, what are we going to do to get us over the 500 hump?
And that's something that the Bulls fans have lived with forever, because it depends on what kind of move you want to make. Do you want to make the move to make you better or make the move to make you worse, but in the future, right? Giving you assets towards the future. So Portland's definitely in the same situation the Bulls have been in for a very long time. I don't feel bad because this is, the Bulls are finally sucking a little bit more. So it's like, hey, listen, Portland, whether you like it or not, you're going to have to reach this scenario unless you get Giannis or something like that. So that's definitely going to be big. But we got some new teams to talk about. We got some new teams to introduce. The NBA has approved the expansion of the league to Seattle and Las Vegas by 2028. So within the next 2 to 3 seasons, we're going to have the Supersonics back, and from another source, and I'm not sure is so true, the Las Vegas Vipers. That's pretty exciting, man. I'm stoked about it because this is going to be one of the first times I've lived through an expansion. I was here. I mean, I was alive for Jacksonville and obviously the Oakland the Las Vegas Raiders and stuff like that, moves. But this seems like the biggest one for the NBA in a while since OKC, right? This one I'm really excited about.
Yeah. The NBA is interesting because, it's one of the few leagues that there are notable names that aren't in the league.
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, you could probably look at what you have in the G League, who's playing over in Europe, etc., and probably put together a competitive team.
Mm-hmm.
A team that would probably still be a lottery pick, but a team that would be no better or worse than the Wizards. Here's my thing. I've gone through this a lot with hockey. Is what is expansion how are we going to do the rosters?
Yeah.
Because because let's look at what NHL did, because they clearly wanted Vegas and Seattle to be good right away, and they did this like draft system.
It's the expansion.
Where with the expansion draft, where Vegas was able to take like 3 players from each team. Seattle ended up getting like a little bit less of the taking people from each team, but they were able to like get a bunch of draft picks and basically draft a ton of people to their team. You know, Vegas and Seattle have been playoff teams since they've come into the league, and that's not, you know, it wasn't like the Texans, who were bad for what felt like 10 years. You know what I mean? Like when the Texans came in, I'm old enough to remember the Texans. So when the Texans came in, it was like I still remember Derek Carr was like their quarterback, which is crazy because like his brother just retired not too long ago, and Derek Carr, like that age gap is crazy. That was like 2001, 2002 maybe. So yeah, like expansion sometimes could suck, and I hope that the NBA does it right. Because if they don't do it right, like teams like the Bulls will get fucked.
Exactly.
It won't be the Knicks. It won't be the Knicks. It won't be the Lakers. It'll be like the Bulls will draft Bonsa. They're finally getting there. And then Vegas and Seattle, like Seattle takes like fucking Giddy and fucking Vegas takes, I don't know, like Colin Sexton. Like they take pieces that are not our key guys, but like they knock us back 2 years.
A little bit of how expansion drafts work, because I did a little bit of research on this in a prior with I forgot what team I was looking at, but a while ago, back when there was another expansion team happening. So every team gets 3 untouchables. You get 3 players that you can't touch. So for the Bulls, technically that would probably be Giddey, Buzelis, Asenge probably is going to be like the 3 that they are untouchable. So at that point, then they would get to pick and choose out of the players, but they still can't reach their cap space. So in terms of like the Bulls, it might actually help us out a little bit, because then we get draft picks in return for whatever players they choose, if they decide to choose players. The thing that worries me more is the team from the West that is going to have to come to the East, meaning that there's going to be another team of competition, because the West is fierce. The West has good teams, and the 2 teams that everyone's talking about are Memphis or Minnesota. I'd rather have Memphis, because Memphis is right. They're in kind of a weird downtrot where it's like they're going to be pretty bad for the next few years. So at least it opens up another door for the Bulls. It makes more sense though for Minnesota, because in every other league, Minnesota is also in the same kind of district as a lot of Chicago teams. I think it's going to end up being Minnesota. Minnesota's a way better team. Minnesota's going to be the 3rd, 4th seed year in, year out for the next 5 years because of Anthony Edwards. That's going to hurt a lot of the Bulls' chances. You know, Orlando, Charlotte. So that's the only thing that I'm like really, really worried on, is that you're going to put in another contender.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's, the other thing that scares me is I think there's way too much chatter around. There's way too much discussions right now around changing playoff formats, changing the way leagues look. I mean, every time you watch, I mean, today Barstool was talking about pushing March Madness up to April.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like everyone, and it's not just them. I mean, it's every podcast wants to talk about how can we fix this? How can we do this? This stinks. I want this gone. This is good. This is no good. When you drop 2 new teams on a league that's already got a play-in system that nobody seems to like, you know, what do you do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and NBA is one of those teams right now. There was one of those leagues right now where they're like in a tough spot, right? Like adding 2 new teams is not going to make tanking any worse or better.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably going to make it. It's probably going to make it worse. Like more teams are going to tank because there's more competition.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, NBA is just they're in a hole, and sure it's like here's Vegas, here's the Supersonics back, but at the same time it's like fix the problems we got going on right now.
Yeah.
We don't like the in-season tournament. We don't like the play-in. Like there's too much tanking. Like when the Warriors were winning, it's too predictable. The playoff system's too predictable. And then, ironically, when everyone started saying it was too predictable, we start getting like 8 different champions in 9 years. So, and then you got the gambling thing. You know what I mean? Like, if there's a league that shouldn't have a team in Vegas, it's the NBA, because they have proven time in and time again that they can't handle, like, they can't get a rap on illegal gambling in their sport. Like, so it's tough, man. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. It is tough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how things unravel. Again, they're saying by 2028 it's looking more and more likely it's going to be closer to the 2030, because obviously Vegas, they're probably going to want to build a new stadium. I don't know how the renovations looked for the Superdome for Seattle, right? There's going to be a lot of other things going into it, but at least they'll have a team with a jersey ready to go by 2028. Who knows where they'll be playing.
Vegas is going to be full of construction, man, because they got to put a baseball team in there. Mm-hmm. They got
all within 5 years, dude. It's crazy how Vegas managed this.
Well, and you're going to think about it'll be a 10-year delay where we'll start to actually see the effects of teams. Right now, the Golden Knights look like they managed it pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
But that's hockey. You know what I mean? Hockey's a little bit different. You know, you got fucking. It's a winter sport, and I don't know. Those guys are able to walk around pretty much unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you don't
it's
really
not so
have...
mainstream. It is mainstream. It's the National Hockey League, but in terms of like what Vegas is betting on, Vegas isn't betting on hockey. Those guys are betting on football,
but it's
baseball,
not,
and basketball.
It's not Fernando Mendoza walking down the street.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you start to have very recognizable faces in basketball and football who are on ESPN every day, what's that going to look like? You know what I mean? Look, the Raiders just haven't had anyone recognizable. Like the Raiders have been a 2-win team since they've been in Vegas. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like,
no, they haven't had much to show off. But one last topic here for NBA before we move on to some MLB opening day news here. The last one is a little bit more relative to Bulls fans. There's growing momentum that Billy Donovan could step away from the Bulls after the season. That is per Jay Cowley Hoops, which is a very, very well-known source in the Chicago region. I do believe this source. I don't think Billy Donovan is excited to be the Bulls coach, especially after this next season where it's like, hey, it's going to be another rebuild. Like, don't worry. Like, we're not going to get Giannis. We're not going to do any of this. Like, just sit still and help us rebuild for another 7th year. I do think this is going to be a pretty good change for the Bulls. Now, Billy Donovan's a great coach. Any coach that we'll get won't be as good as Billy Donovan, especially since our roster isn't that good. One thing that worries me, though, is that we're once again going to put the hands of this very, very important draft pick into the hands of AK that in the last few seasons hasn't really shown us much. Imagine the Bulls get a top 5 pick this year. It's going to be hard to fuck that up, right? You got Akov, you got a lot of these other good stud players. With AK, I'm nervous. You get a top 5 pick, and he's gonna fuck around and draft somebody that was a late first rounder from a foreign country that you're not sure about, but it's like, hey, he was a really good bench player. He's going to be a really good starter in 3 years. I'm really worried about that. That's the big thing for me.
I think AK, I think we need to fire him immediately.
And it's unfortunate because I did research on what's the likeliness of every NBA history, in all NBA history, that when a coach gets fired after a really long tenure, that the management gets fired too. And what I learned from my AI source was that it's very, very unlikely for the Bulls, only because that Mark Eversley and AK both got extensions 2 seasons ago. So for them to be fired would be tough.
The problem is it's not going to be a firing. It'll be Billy Donovan stepping down. I mean, Billy Donovan, like we've said this before, I don't think Billy Donovan's a bad coach. I still think he's a really good coach. It is a little concerning that Io went to Minnesota and he was talking about how in Billy Donovan's offense there was no such thing as a mid-range. However, the one thing I will say is that Billy Donovan has constantly been given mediocre talent.
Yeah.
He's constantly been giving bad teams, bad players, you know. And when we finally did have something going, he had to deal with Zach LaVine, who had been there since the past regime, who was just taking all these bad shots and fucking up any sort of rhythm that he had. And now you look at this year, where we've been basically asking for 5 years, hey, AK, please do a rebuild. And he picks the time when Billy's dad passes away to eventually, essentially trade away. Like, Billy had been back a week and from his dad passing away, and now he's got all these shitty fucking mediocre-ass guards, and his entire team is gone. And we're shocked that him and AK aren't on the same page. Who the fuck would be?
Yeah.
I've quit jobs for way less. You know what I mean? Like that's a transgression. And AK, you know, like all AK has to do is get up and say, this is what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm aiming for. If you have the Knicks and the Lakers and the Celtics, there's never any question what they are doing, because they go and they do their council thing, and then after council, they go, this is our plan, this is what we're looking for. AK is like, I'm looking in my crystal ball and trust that I know what I'm doing. Why would I trust what you know what you're doing?
Especially after all this
time. Why would I have any belief system in you right now? It's because you've shown me time and time again that you can't field a team. That the only thing that you're known for is because you, during a Taco Bell commercial, you fucking were lucky enough to draft some big fucking guy out of Serbia that ended up being the best player in the league. Mm-hmm. Literally,
7 years ago.
It was during a Taco Bell commercial, and you can't tell me that AK knew that Joker was going to be good, because you hear all the Nuggets players that were there at the time where they were like, it wasn't until like the end of like summer league going into preseason that people were like, oh, this guy's different. Like it wasn't so like there's no way AK was like this guy's the next guy.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous the way they're building the roster. I'm so worried about this draft because I know that there's going to be a pretty good name, especially if the Bulls get a top 10 pick. And I'm so worried again that it's going to be somebody that's like, man, it's not a good position player, or doesn't match the system, or it's going to be another guard. I just here's how the way my mind looks at it right now, where it's like, I definitely get getting rid of Donovan. I definitely get that. Will we replace him with a better coach? Probably not. If I had to choose who I think would make a better decision for this roster, if it's AK or Billy Donovan, I would say Billy Donovan would make a way better decision on who to take top 10 in this draft to complement this roster to build around than AK.
Sure.
That's kind of where my mind's at, where I'm like, man, getting rid of Billy sucks because I understand, but whoever is left in charge it's not a good look, because then we're going to draft somebody, bring in a random coach, a coach from a mid-level school or from college or something. Like, hey, now you got this raw talent small forward that we just drafted. Oh, we also have this other small forward we drafted last year, and then we have this small forward that we drafted the year before that. Like, you know, let's see if we can go ahead and beat Giannis in 6 games.
You know what? I had a dream last night. Mm-hmm. What would be the dream scenario for me?
What's he dreaming about?
Coach K steps in as our executive for AK, and John Cryer coaches his team.
That'd be nuts. Oh shit, yeah.
The Chicago Duke boys reunite to fucking fix the Chicago Bulls.
Could you imagine that? And you're talking about John Shire, right?
I'm sorry, I said Cryer. John Shire.
Absolutely love John Shire.
John Shire gets hired as our.
That's like someday, not right now. Someday John Shire's gonna.
Well, I mean,
hang it up and come to the NBA.
Everyone's saying, look, we signed a college legend in Billy Donovan and it didn't work out. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm okay with that. But I'm just saying, if we got John Shire and Coach K, I 100% think the Bulls would have a championship team in 3 years.
Yeah, that would be insane. Again, you have two of the most excellent minds in terms of coaching and development, and then also in just player personnel. Like, man,
they hit. Look at what Duke does. They hit
Yeah.
on 2 freshmen every year.
every year. Yeah, every year.
Every year they
And
get
those guys
2
are always
freshmen
top 5 picks, no matter what.
top 5 picks. Yeah, that's who I would look at. I don't know. The NBA pool is all kind of tarnished.
Mm-hmm.
Like the NBA coaching pool is all guys who've been fired a million times. Like there's not
Hey, you want a
really
15 of Doc
anyone.
Rivers, like, it's fucking
Yeah. I mean, you certainly could go young. I'm sure there's some guys that are executives or assistant coaches and stuff like that. And you start getting guys in their late 30s, early 40s.
It's like a Missoula
start
type,
coaching
right?
teams.
It's like the Missoula was like very under the radar, ended up being a really good
Yeah.
stud, won a championship, still waiting to see like kind of what his future looks like. But those kind of guys, that's if you're lucky to hit on that.
And I think the Bulls should probably start getting away from the older. They should start trying to look at the new age GM, the guy who's very analytical. Because I just don't know if the old guard. I mean, look at Utah.
Yeah,
They got a big name in their executive office. We know everyone's name that's walking down those hallways. They were proven winners. And what has Pat Riley done for the Jazz?
yeah, right. It's
Nothing.
like nothing at all, and it's I wish for the Bulls. I hope that this offseason can kind of bring a little bit more light. I think I'm excited for a new coach to come in, but I just know that with management, the way management looks right now, and I'm not stoked on who the personnel is going to be, because I just have a feeling it's going to be like, oh great, now it's going to be another 5 years of this douchebag or another point guard that can't play and whatever. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I'm a little happy. Whoever you bring in has to be somebody that can really develop young talent, because the Bulls these next 2 years are going to have a wave of young guys on the roster.
still the youngest team in the NBA right now. I think the average age is like
Youngest team in the NBA, and they have like
5.1.
1 million draft picks. And they have 1 million draft picks. So they're only going to get younger, which is crazy to think. So you really need a guy like a Billy Donovan. And the only thing with Billy Donovan, it's not that he can't do it. I just don't think Billy Donovan wants to do it.
I don't think he put in too much effort early on to where now it's like there's nothing to play for.
Yeah, I think he wants to step. I think he wants what the path I see for Billy Donovan is him stepping away for a couple years to be with his family after the passing of his father, and then I think at some point he might return to the college game in some type of a GM status.
Yeah.
And try to rebuild and try. You know, I could definitely see like Billy Donovan popping up at like Georgetown to save a program. You know what I mean? Like
I definitely see that too. Yeah, I see that. I think that's the best bet for him. 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's where he loves the game. I don't think he likes coaching prima donnas and dealing with like ego-driven fucking, all about me. Like AK right now is running this team very Hitlerish.
Hitlerish.
I mean, look, he's firing people who disagree with him.
Yeah.
We're seeing people leave the Bulls front office and get traded away because people who don't believe in his vision.
Yeah.
And all I'm saying is, what is your fucking vision, AK? Like, no one, like, he's running a team. He's got no poker face. When he talks, it's very clear he has no fucking clue
You
what
don't
he's
believe
doing.
a thing he says. You're like, oh shit, this
Not
is
a
bullshit.
thing he says. At least Pat Riley is slimy
Yeah.
and looks like he's fucking going to rob a bank. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
like, or you get one of these analytical nerds that they have a spreadsheet that they're following. AK does not look like he's reading off of anything. He literally has no idea.
He's
what
like
he's
his
doing.
head's always down, like he's like nervous, and he always talks like he's got shit memorized. It's just it annoys me so much. Like, he talks like he's trying to fucking present a 5th grade class. All right. Enough of NBA, because obviously we'll cover more NBA news once things get rolling. There's about 10 games left in the NBA season. We'll cover playing and playoffs as much as we can, but it's opening day for MLB. Let's cover that. Let's continue on this. We got our MLB insider Danny here. The first thing I just want to mention, other than opening day, this happened yesterday. PCA finally got his 6-year.
Pub for life.
6-year extension done, which is more than just 6 years because he already had a 2-year contract with us that still needs to fulfill those 2 years. So once that's finished, then his 6-year deal starts. It is 6 years, $115 million. I will tell you right now, for someone that was in the MVP conversation last season, this might be one of the biggest steals of a deal, depending on how he looks in the future, that the MLB has ever seen. Truly.
Yeah.
6 years for $115 million is insanely good number for a guy like PCA. Any team would
for a guy that really hasn't even sniffed his potential.
100%, man.
You know, like, let him grow up a little bit. Like last year, he was almost an MVP, and he was like still an excited young kid.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, I think it's great. I think the Cubs are in a really good place, man.
Oh yeah.
I like. We talk about things we want to see from AK. Like, Jed Hoyer has done a great job in the fact that he's seeing them close to the finish line, and he's pushing all his chips in, and he's saying, like, we're going to trade Owen Casey for Edward Cabrera. We're going to sign a historic contract with Alex Bregman. Like, we really feel like we're there. We have a ton of guys that are known locker room guys. Bregman and Dansby are known champions. They are guys who've won it all in this league and are known to be locker room leaders. Like, Nico's a locker room leader. Seiya's a quiet leader. PCA's a driven young guy that everyone loves. Like, this is a team that really has a special feel to them. We know Milwaukee's not going to go away. And the reason why I say Milwaukee, because you go, hey, Danny, who's on Milwaukee? But this is just a team that finds stars throughout the season. As the season goes along, Milwaukee produces guys who know how to contribute to a team. So Milwaukee's not going to go away. But I don't think that's going to stop the Cubs from winning 95 games this year. Now, Milwaukee might win 97 and win the division. It is what it is. We can't stop Milwaukee from winning 16 games in a row. Like, the Cubs played well against Milwaukee in the regular season. They went on 3 different 16-game win or 12-game winning streaks last year. We can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
And we can't do anything about the Dodgers if they go on a roll, or the Phillies. The Cubs just could worry about what they're doing, and then once we get to the playoffs, like, try to go on a run. And I think we are built pretty well. The Cubs have like 8 guys. They have like 8 starters once Steele comes back. That's gonna really come into play once we get close to like September and playoff time, when we have fresh arms. Yep. And that's really what the Cubs are looking to produce, are fresh arms. They have a lot of relievers that they've signed. Like, we saw the first month before Bregman, it was all relievers that they were bringing in. Like, the Cubs are really trying to diversify their bullpen and their starting staff. And so I'm stoked about it. Obviously, a lot of people are feeling a little inevitable that the Dodgers are going to three-peat. I've been here before. When I first started watching baseball, the Yankees were three-peating. And so it's unfortunate, but, the Dodgers spent money, and the Cubs were in a situation where it was like, we need to spend money as well. So I'm hoping there are new teams on the horizon. Like, I'm hoping Pittsburgh has a little bit of life in them. I'm hoping, like, these bad teams that have been bad for a while are starting to spend money to try to field good players and field competitive rosters. And all the division races should be really, really fun.
Yeah.
Should be really, really fun. Yankees are beating the shit out of the Giants right now. So that's pretty interesting.
What's the score right now?
It's 7-0 in the 7th. And God, it does not... I hate watching sports on Netflix.
I know, they're going to keep doing it too. Just get ready for it. They're going to keep doing
it. They're so nauseatingly... Like, no one blows themselves like Netflix does.
Yeah.
Like, literally the start of the game, Bert Kreischer comes out. And then he's in McCovey Cove. And they're, talking about how Netflix is the home to stand-up comedy specials. And then you have all the WWE wrestlers. because now Raw is on Netflix.
Yeah,
and
that's
you have
true.
Jey Uso.
I forgot about
You have
that.
You have Jey Uso, and I'm surprised part of my take's not out there
Mm-hmm.
in Netflix T-shirts. Like, Netflix is like, they're just like that. It's so funny. Like, it's so crazy how like they've become this like brain deal for the entertainer.
Just
the
really
entertainment
driving it
world.
down your throat. It's so annoying.
Hey,
It'll
but I'm
make it
not
worse.
complaining if Netflix wants to sign us.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, Netflix, we're pretty available. We heard that you guys have podcasts. We'll definitely love
Yeah.
to join in. We definitely have a few qualifying offers that we'll have to review, but it is in our interests. Danny, is there anything
Yeah,
else baseball wise you wanted to mention, or are you ready for my closing discussion here?
Let's do the closing discussion. I was gonna say we got to weigh Netflix and Fubo.
It's true. Yeah, Fubo's up there.
Fubo really wants us.
Yeah.
And Tubi, but
Tubi's a
don't
good
know.
one. Tubi, we decided it might be towards the last of it because they don't want to show our faces. They just want it to be audio only. But we're visually appealing. We're visually sexy, and you gotta get both of us. Can't just be audio. So that's why Fubo's gonna be really exciting. Yeah, Fubo.
We're real pieces of ass.
Yeah.
That's why we got cameras. So
Damn right. Look at us. Now we've upgraded. This is episode 11 now. We're not on no episode 1 shit. This is episode 11. All right, closing discussion. You ready?
Let's do it.
How are we treating this MLB season? With the potential that obviously next season we're going to be looking at a potential lockout. How are we treating this season right now for the league and the players? Are we looking at it differently? Are we saying that this is a very important year to win it because after this there might be a lot of changes? Or are you treating this maybe as like an asterisk where it's like people are playing a little bit softer knowing that they're going to get some time off next year? Again, none of it's settled, but how are you looking at it, this being the season before a potential lockout?
Yeah, how am I looking at it before a potential lockout? Man, I don't know. I don't trust any lockout talk.
We've lived through two, right?
Happens.
We've lived through 2 lockouts. We had an NBA and then we had hockey.
We had an NHL.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks won the Stanley Cup the year of that lockout. I honestly don't know what I honestly don't know what players are fighting for anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, players are so fucking rich. They're so fucking rich now, and they've like, you look at contracts and it's just like, how much more money do you fucking want? Like, I don't know if you saw Ozzy Albies, his fish thing that he's been doing in his house.
I'm not sure if I have.
He had a Caterpillar bold like construction trucks in his fucking garage, putting like storage tanks in his full of fish and piranhas and all these exotic fish in his garage.
Okay.
And it's like, and what I'm getting at is Ozzy Albies isn't even near the highest paid player in the MLB. Just like, how much richer do professional athletes need to get? Because it's kind of gotten to a point where it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like,
and is that the main change that they're focused on right now? Because other than players, it's going to be teams, right? Like the amount of money that a team has to pay players is also kind of in the questioning loop here.
For MLB salary cap's big. Because we're getting to a point now where teams are signing guys to $500, $600 million deals, and they're just saying we'll pay you later.
And that means that the little teams can't even function because they have no opportunity.
And we're also in an area now they want to put a cap floor because there's teams like the Pirates who just will not spend money. And they got guys like Paul Skeens that end up getting traded to these teams that are at the top who are being said to need a salary cap. And it's just small market, big markets fuck small market, and so forth and so on. And it makes you respect kind of where the Cubs have been. I know a lot of people get frustrated about the Cubs not being as big of a spender. However, the Cubs have been playing it kind of smart because if there is a salary cap and a salary floor added, the Cubs still, I think, would be in a good spot.
We'd still be one of those rosters that does pay but doesn't pay too much. We'd be
yeah, and we wouldn't have to. We wouldn't have to reconstruct. Like we're not like the Dodgers that have $4 billion to pay 4 players.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those situations where it's gotten a little too ridiculous. But eventually everyone's going to have to eat their fucking words. It is a problem with the Dodgers when you have like ownership groups, when you have like a bunch of billionaires getting together. That is a little unfair versus a team that's run by like one family, one billionaire. It is a little annoying in that sense where like the Dodgers have you never know where the fucking money's coming from because they have like a group
and they're open about spending. They're like their management groups are open about being like, no, like we want to be the top spending team. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, exactly. And and then like you get into the discussions about tanking. MLB really was the first league to begin tanking. Mm-hmm. Everyone goes, I know basketball gets kind of labeled as the tanking league, but the MLB was the team that said, hey, if we are asked for 2 years, we could stockpile draft picks and get, the Astros and the Cubs, they were those teams that when the free agency came, the 2016 Cubs and the Astros dynasty was built from those two franchises signing a bunch of, cheap free agents, getting them to play well for the first half, and then trading them for draft picks, and then stockpiling those picks, and then getting the Rizzos, getting the Chris Bryants, getting the Javier Baezes, getting all these players. However, I think tanking works a little bit. Tanking has a higher success rate in MLB than it does in basketball. Like, besides the Thunder, and I really wouldn't even say what the Thunder did was tanking, because the Thunder just took advantage of teams and took on their expiring contracts.
They played a system
and turned it into draft. Yeah, and they not only that, they also one of the guys they traded for was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's the best player in the league right now. So I wouldn't even call what the Thunder. It helps, and I wouldn't call what the Thunder did was tanking. But you have teams like the Rockies, you have teams like the Jazz, the Wizards, teams who are tanking, and the Pirates, teams who are tanking but have no direction of getting better. And that's why you're seeing a lockout where it's like, all right, we have to establish a salary cap floor because these teams, to stay afloat, are not spending, but they are not taking any risks on players. And we need to fix that. And, I hate to say the Wizards because we'll see next year what the Wizards do with Anthony Davis and Trae Young. But we're in a position now where like it is what it is. That's the world we live in, and we'll just have to wait and see, Dijo. But I don't believe any lockout because usually once we get to this point, in the end of the day, the players don't have much to complain about. If you start shaving some of the money off of the players, there's still guys getting completely overpaid.
Exactly, and the only reason I mention it is because it's opening day, so it's like one of those topics that we won't get another chance to mention it without baseball on until there's potential lockout. And obviously, this is all jibber jabber. There's not a lot of people saying that this is gonna be legit or not, but I thought it was an important topic to bring up because it weighs heavy on a lot of people's minds because this season is going to be a very important one. Again, if the Dodgers three-peat it, then it's almost certainly going to be.
If the Dodgers run it and they kick the fuck out of everyone, and we don't see new teams come out of nowhere, the one thing I'll say we got going for us is we have a lot of optimism. There's a lot of teams that are not afraid of the Dodgers.
Yeah. I mean, we saw that last year, which it got proven very closely. So I'm hoping that this year could also turn the pages for that a little bit.
I think it's more of an issue at the bottom of the league, though, Joe.
100%, dude. I mean, we came from White Sox backgrounds too. Like we understand. We watch this team the same way we watch the Cubs, but it's like it's ridiculous how that's being portrayed. Like, we understand.
Yeah, you can't blame the teams that are super successful. I think what a lot of people are starting to blame are the teams that are automatic wins at a certain point in the season. You know, like the Athletics have been dog shit all, and they're starting to get a little bit better, but I think that really fucks up. I think that really fucks up like a good pennant race, right?
Yeah, dude.
Like a really good playoff stretch where we're getting to a point where it's like who's going to be in the playoffs, and you have a team like, you know, the Reds last year or whatever. They end up having a stretch of games where they play like the Athletics, the fucking Orioles,
Yeah, dude.
and they just go on a 9-game tear against these dog shit teams, and the team that they're chasing is the Mets, who have to play the Dodgers, Phillies, and Cubs.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, at that point it becomes unfair. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like there used to be a time where the teams that were bad, if they were bad, they would basically call up all their young talent and let these guys play. And that's not happening now. Like, there's some teams that are like, we want to secure a first overall pick. We're going to play fucking some 37-year-old journeyman at catcher. You know what I mean? Like, look at the fucking Blackhawks the last couple of years.
Exactly,
man.
yeah. It's like, who wants to play? Who wants minutes?
They're playing like the Zamboni drivers at goalie. Like, they're just trying to fucking lose games so they can get more picks. And that's when you start losing the integrity of the game.
And hopefully we don't get to lose any more integrity of the game, because baseball has just started. So we're nose deep into it. We're really excited for what the season's to come. Obviously, tune in because Cubbies are playing soon. Today is opening day, but the Cubbies do not play today. They'll be playing tomorrow, correct?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, Nationals.
I think
home.
Matthew Boyd pitches.
Matthew Boyd's opener. What time is that game?
1:20.
Ooh, it's a 1:20 game. I'm really excited because that's perfect timing. That's right around noon when I take my break. All right, guys. Well, unless there's anything else. The
Cubs Nationals opening day matchup. I have like PTSD. When I was a kid, my dad took. I think I might have been like 14 or 15. I don't know how old I was. I was definitely high schoolish age. My dad snuck me out of school. We went to opening day. And it was the Cubs versus the Nationals, and it was like Steven Strasburg's like debut. And the Cubs were up 1-0 the entire game, and they brought in Kerry Wood, who walked the bases loaded. And we ended up losing that game. And it was the most it's the most agonizing sports moment I've ever had, where like there's nothing worse than you being up 1 run, and this is why I love baseball. There's nothing worse than you being up 1 run, and your pitcher just comes in, and right away starts walking people, and you're just like, oh no, and you're just like praying every pitch is not a home run. You're just like, oh no. There is a special feeling around opening day because baseball's always been one of those sports where there's optimism. Like, you could not have the best team in the world. You could have a team that's not the best team in the world and still find yourself in a playoff spot. Like, the Reds were playing the Reds made the playoffs last year. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like there is this kind of feeling that anyone can make it, unless you're the White Sox. Then you don't have anything to play for. But there is kind of this excitement swirling, and just like it's a magical time. It's a magical day.
It's the dreams have just started to blossom right now, where it's like, hey, everyone's team is like, hey, every opening day is very exciting for everyone, the families and stuff like that. I'm excited. I usually don't go out for opening day, but I like to go out the next week. I'll get a ticket in the second inning. Get a $15 ticket, get a $15 beer, and just enjoy my first game. So I'm really excited about that opportunity coming in next week.
I did all that. You won't see me there until June.
Until June?
I don't play the cold. I've gone to this guy's gone to way too many cold outdoor games.
There's so many games in March, which is really interesting. But
Yeah, fucking Wrigleyville, like
it's
it's a way better time in the summer.
You're right.
And it's a
Yeah,
mess.
you're right. It's not worth it.
And it's a
anymore.
mess.
Yeah.
And it's not the same type. It's not the same type of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wrigleyville in the summer, you could just walk around, pop into places. Everything's popping. Everything's fun. And it's easier to deal with the crowd than when it's 30 degrees and you're fucking trying to walk back to your car parked in an alley. And I'm more of a June guy.
Yeah.
I like to. You know what I aim for? We're playing the Cardinals again. I try to go to that 4th of July game.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah, the 4th of July game. Yeah, that's sick. That's a good pick.
I try to get out there that week. That's always a really fun week and fun time to go. But I am already starting to schedule my stadiums I will be going to this year, outside stadiums.
Okay.
I think I will be making an appearance in Toronto, and I will be making an appearance in Miami.
Okay, so. Toronto and Miami. That's exciting, dude. Toronto's gonna be a cool one.
Yeah.
Pop out Toronto.
Yeah. I've gone to a million Tigers games, and the reason why I've gone to a million Tigers games is I've tried to drive up to Toronto, and I've given up in Detroit every time.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Because I'm just like, I'm not doing the 8 hours.
Yeah.
I'm fucking.
It's a lot, man. It's when you're a traveler like yourself, you gotta make time for it. And obviously, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But hopefully, preaching to you, it does work out. You get your trip to Miami done and to Toronto. Let's check out those stadiums. Also, you can take the photos and share it with us. We could share it here for everyone's viewership. But otherwise, we appreciate you guys tuning in for episode 11. Baseball has just begun. Go watch some baseball. Basketball's on tomorrow, so don't forget to check your brackets and re-download the March Madness app if for any reason you deleted it over the weekend. You get the free hour. So each day, you get the free hour of watching. Spend that free hour. If you don't spend it, then give it to someone else.
Netflix has Jameis Winston sitting in... Jameis Winston is sitting with the Usos in the seats right now.
Absolutely.
And he looks like Steve Urkel.
Absolutely fucking.
And he looks like Steve Urkel. Look at this shit. Wait, hold on. Look at it. Oh, wait, no, they've moved him. I was going to show you. They got rid of him. But he literally looks like... He literally looks like Steve Urkel sitting in between the Usos right now.
Gnarly.
Dude, Jameis Winston, when he retires, is going to take over sports.
Oh, yeah. I might want him to be my president, but he might even take over politics. All right, y'all. Logging off, closing out. Go watch.
Park on the driveway.
Park on the fucking driveway. And if you didn't park, if you walked here, just fucking let yourself in.
Go Cubs, go.
Go Cubs, go. Deuces.
Peace.